Hello and welcome back to my garden for a spring garden tour video. I always love doing garden tour videos because then I can really show you updates and share with you how the garden looks at a specific time of the year. And we're already starting here at these beautiful pots that I just did together with you in one of my previous videos. So just in case if you've missed that, just go into my history of videos and you will find it where I just share with you some ideas on how I arrange pots, how I combine colors, and how I hope I create something quite inspiring here. And I'm still really loving it. Can't wait to see how they're going to progress over the year and pick up a little bit. The one thing I want to do is once we find some really nice rare Panacetum grasses in the garden center, I want to add them here. Because I always think if you do a pot arrangement, especially in summer, it's wonderful to have some grasses in there because they just really give an airy, wonderful light texture that I'm missing right now, but we're still like in spring, so I think this just looks fresh and nice and exactly what I want from spring. So I hope you're excited to walk through the garden with me a little bit today. We're standing in the front garden and I really love to start here because then you really get to see and experience like how colors work in the garden and how I combine them. You can already see here the Amelanchier is just in bloom and I always love that. It's one of those shrubs that I planted, I believe 10 years ago, and for the first couple of years you haven't seen any growth at all. And now for the past 2 years, suddenly it's really skyrocketing. It's wonderful because now in spring you have the white blooms, later on followed by these really wonderful dark berries. Amelanchier is also called serviceberry and the fruit is edible, so you can even use them. They're a little tart, they're not very sweet, but they're definitely edible, and the darker they are, the better they taste, in my opinion. In autumn, the foliage changes to a wonderful color. There are some varieties where you really have a wonderful crimson or orange color. If we just walk into the front garden, you will see that I focus on color combinations of soft yellow, like sulfur and acid yellow, combined with the blue. There isn't too much blue right now, and this is something that I want to change a little bit moving forward. So here you already see a few things that I've changed. I've added another rhododendron there with a leaf variegation. And if you just come a little bit closer, you get to see how it works quite nice, because in the front there is the yellow from the Epimedium, sulphureum. The color of the blooms is picked up again in the foliage because the leaves here just come closer, so you really get to see it, have the yellow in it too. So you have a dark green and a yellow, and this is something that I just love to play with colors, that you don't only focus on the color in the bloom, but also in the foliage. There are some hyacinths in here. They start to peter out now, as you can see, that, so they're looking a little shabby, and I have to come in to cut the spent flower stems because you don't want them to set seed. You want to make sure that the leaves still there, so all the energy goes back into the bulb and you will have fresh, nice blooms next year. They are white though, and I want to change them to something more of a purple so that I have this color contrast of purple and yellow here, because there's always a thing at this time of the year when I have a lot of yellow but hardly any purple at all. One plant that is still here is the ornamental cherry. It looks quite nice now at this time of the year, but already you can see, and I did a video before where I talked about cherry wilt, and it already happened now, even before it started to bloom, which rarely happens. This tree is now 15 years old, and it should be way bigger, but it isn't, because whenever it picked up with growth, cherry wilt kicks in. I have to come and cut it back, and it's just not looking its best. So now it's nice, but I think it really is for the chop in the long run, unfortunately. But on the other hand, I planted this before anything else was planted here. I didn't have a color concept, nothing. There was no front garden. There was just the cherry tree and lawn and the hedges, and that was it. And now I'm like, it just doesn't make sense color-wise. You know, if you want to focus on like yellow and blue and maybe have a little bit of white accents there, suddenly I have a blush pink. It just doesn't really work. If we continue walking, you see a few things. For example, the Acer over there has a wonderful foliage now when it comes back. It's like really lime acidy green, and it stays fairly small too. I'm happy that it survives because I really struggle with Japanese Acer of any kind here at all, and it's always a little bit difficult. If we just go back there quickly, I added a few plants last year and I think it's really nice to show this specimen too. There is an hibiscus here. This is white chiffon, and in front there is a euphorbia, again with a leaf variegation. It's in bloom now, and I think it's just very pretty because you really have these like sulfury yellow blooms, but then you have the same color in the leaves again. The stems are kind of like a little reddish. They were darker early on in the year, and I had some really wonderful dark purple iris in front of it. So that was a wonderful plant combination. If we just continue walking here, the lawn is not looking great at the moment, mainly because I have to cut it for number one, but number two, there's a lot of weeds in here. So one of the projects for the next years is to focus on the lawn big time. All of this was pretty new planted. Some of the things really took in very well. For example, the Diavilla. This is Kodiak orange. Very pretty. Now I can see that there are some stems that have died back, so I can come in now with my scissors or secateurs and just cut them back just a little bit. But in general, this is one of the plants that you don't cut a lot. It's very easy, very carefree. Here, this is a new addition. This is a witch hazel, a hamamelis. This is Arnold Promise. It flowered in a really wonderful light yellow early on in the year. So you can still see the spent flower heads here, and the new fresh leaves are coming. What's beautiful is a growing habit. So if you look at it from a distance, you will see that it's kind of narrow at the base and then it just arches out, so it's kind of like arching over the other plants here, and I think this is why it's going to work really nice and beautifully here. A lot still has to happen. There are roses there which are going to come to life. More of the epimedium. I really love this variety. This is Epimedium sulphureum. So just if you go down and have a closer look at it, we just had a little bit of a rain, luckily, because we haven't had rain in weeks here. But they're so delicate, so wonderful. They even make quite pretty cut flowers because the stems are fairly long. So you can even cut them off for the vase, and later on it's a wonderful pillow of green foliage. So I think the interest of this plant is there for most of the year because even throughout winter the leaves stay pretty much nice and green. Continue walking. This is, oh geez, what is it in English? I think it's also called houndstooth if I'm not wrong. I hope I say the right word now, otherwise correct me if I'm wrong with this one. Love them. They're so delicate. There's something quite exotic about them in a way. Like the foliage, when you see the leaves have this variegation when they come out. Now they're already maturing, so the variegation disappears. Some first slug damage is on here after the rain. But the blooms, very pretty, definitely a seasonal highlight. They exist in a light pink too, but obviously here for this part of the garden, it had to be this color. And I'm going to buy some more of those because I think that they'd be just a wonderful addition to this part of a garden. So if we continue walking now, this is always what I think is quite interesting because we have the clipped sphere here, the evergreen, and then the garden really opens up to the back. There is a sumac here, which provides a wonderful structure. It had a rough time last year, and I'm not sure if it made it at all. So I kind of think that eventually I'm losing the sumac, which would be sad, but so is life. I mean, some battles you win, others you lose, and this is also the beauty of garden, that it's always evolving and they're always changing things. One thing that I was changing big time is this part of the garden here right at the terrace. So I've really taken out everything from these beds. I had some rose rugosa here, the dog rose, and I've replaced them with David Austin roses. This is Queen of Sweden here. So I planted them bare root in a video with you, and you can see that they already starting to produce wonderful shoots now, and I've underplanted them with geranium. This is geranium rosemore, so they will flower in a nice pale violet or purple. I'm going to show you later. Got some aquilegia there. This is a mixture of black barlow and William Guinness. Some grasses, this Calamagrostis Carl Förster, some phlox, some hydrangeas. I'm really excited to share with you how this is going to perform later on in the year. And I just mirrored basically the same thing over here. There's still one panacetum that I lifted, where I still don't know what to do with that because some asters grew inside. So maybe I'm going to divide it and then try to find a nice home for it. One thing that I changed is here, because I had, if you remember, I had two really nice big box spheres here, but box blight came in, killed the box completely, and I thought, okay, what am I going to do? Am I going to put in an evergreen again? Yes or no? Then I thought, no, I really want to have another hibiscus, so I planted this one here. This is Van Brabant, Dutch Van Brabant, I think, something like that. It is supposed to be a pink, like a mauve pink. Really excited. I'm just judging by the photo that was on the label and what I've seen online. So let's see. You can still see everything which is not so nice under the terrace here. So at one point I have to come up with something just to put, I don't know, maybe a wooden structure, something there just to hide it, but really have to see what I'm going to do with that. In the meantime, really happy to see how this is going to perform and look. In theory, this is going to grow like 1.80 meters, so pretty much my height in general. Maybe a little bit shorter here just because of the climate, I have to see. Another plant where I think this is for the chop is this one, because I always think this is not really giving anything. And it's kind of starting to lean over more and more. And yeah, I never really liked that one. That was already here when I came, and I think that this is one that will be for the chop very soon. Maybe this autumn, probably next year. Lawn is not looking fantastic here, so let's just move on a little bit to where it's nicer and focus on some tulips, because the tulip season is on, and this is always a fun season, especially when you're standing here where I'm standing now, and then you look down the garden, because there you really get to see the first nice tulips already. You can see here the hyacinths, they're already petering out too. The tulips that I have here is called Silver Cloud. And I've heard from some people that they have a struggle with Silver Cloud coming back. Here I don't have it. What I see though is when I plant Silver Cloud new, they have pretty big blooms. And then the next years, as they just naturalize, the blooms are on the smaller side, but the color is there and they always come back. So they're pretty reliable for me, and I just love the contrast of these silvery pale pink blooms with the darker stems here. They make really nice cut flowers too. There's still some other tulips that I used to have in here, so they just come back. This was Victoria's Secret, so quite a dark one. I never planted this one, by the way. I really don't like orange and yellow together. So it's scented, but every single year that one comes back. Everything else kind of just like peters out at one point, and that one doesn't, of course, the one that I don't like that much. So if we continue walking, you see it's just looking lush and vigorous. You can really see it's quite a good year for growing things. Just one more thing, because I just planted it last year and I think it's pretty nice. So I planted some shrubs here. There is another dwarf lilac here, which is not looking like a lot right now. And then I planted these shrubs in the front. There's a little angel. I don't know the English word now. Maybe it's going to come back to me in a moment. They have yellow foliage now if you look at it, but they will turn really wonderful burgundy later on in the year. I also received from Peter Neeson in the Netherlands some bulbs as a tryout, so I can see how they look and how I would grow them. One of these here, Muscari. So pretty, very pale blue. And as they age, they get a little darker. So I think this was a nice thing, because I don't think I would have normally bought them, but now seeing these, I'm like, I really love them. Probably I'm going to buy some more of those and just add a little bit more to the display here. If you look over there, you can see the Catinus comes now with the first fresh shoots. And what I love is like the Catinus with the red shoots, the rose, which is Novalis with the red shoots in the back. There is a darker tulip, which is called Paul Scherer. I have to buy a few of them again, because unfortunately some of those petered out, and I think I need more of them, because I really love to have the contrast of the dark tulip together with the pale soft of a Silver Cloud. Another wonderful combination is over here, which in the beginning I was like, I'm not sure if I still like it. I had some clematis here, which grows as a perennial. I'm going to give it the Chelsea chop though at one point, probably, because it needs something to lean on. But I think the combination of the dark foliage from the clematis together with the dark stems of the tulip and the tulip, it's a wonderful color combination, really nice plant neighbors. So I had a moment where I thought I want to lift the clematis, but now when I see this, I thought, actually, this works fairly nice. I initially had two of the clematis here, they petered out, and then suddenly had offspring everywhere. So now I have this clematis everywhere here in the border, even in between the grasses where I am going to lift it. Maybe put it somewhere in the back there. But in general, this is just a really wonderful color combination, I feel. If we continue walking, you'll see this is like the autumn border, and there isn't too much happening right now. There were some hyacinth. Should I have more tulips in here? Probably yes. What I already did is I bought some osteospermum, which I really love. So here I'm going to plant some pink osteospermum, and I think the color is really beautiful. So it's like a bluish pink, because behind it there will be some persicaria in a cherry red. So I'm thinking this will be a really nice contrast of the two. I had sedum here, and the sedum never really worked. It kind of started to peter out. It was diseased, so I lifted it, came in with some fresh garden compost, and I think that this is going to look so much better. Still, I have to plant those. If we continue walking here, you will see there are asters in here, big drifts of asters, persicaria. This is really, there is not too much interest at this time of the year. There are some aquilegia which are going to come to bloom. I'm still trying to think what to do. There were some hyacinths in here and they were nice, but now they're gone. And the tulips also started to peter out a little bit here. So I'm not quite sure what to do with this area. It's wonderful in autumn. It's not giving so much at this time of the year, but then there are areas like the island bed that you saw, which is just really providing a lot of interest at this time of the year. So maybe it's all right if that bed is just a little more plain at this time of the year. Here, a lot of things are really looking nice now in general. I'm really pleasantly surprised with this. This is the second year for this entire border. Asters are looking perfect. The catmint over there is great. The sedum here is looking fairly fine now. More asters here. What I already planted are some mother osteospermum. I have buddleia here, which is going to be really nice dark purple. And I think the combination of the dark purple with these really wonderful dark cherry red blooms is nice. And because I have the persicaria in a similar-ish color than this, it's nice to have the same color again, but in a total different shape of a flower, because the persicaria are like very small, delicate, small blooms. And here you have these big daisy-shaped flowers. And I spaced them quite narrow. Normally the spacing can be bigger, but I really wanted to have a nice big drift and impact on all of these wonderful colors here. Some more hydrangeas there and more roses. So if you continue walking, this path here, all of this here is supposed to be with some kind of gravel at one point. I hope I'm going to do it this autumn. Here, by the way, this is where I potted up my dahlias in some flocks. So before I put them in the borders, I just always pot them up and see that they grow in. Unfortunately, after the rain, some slugs and snails came and ate some of my dahlias already, but I'm positive that they're going to come back. Some roses here, Terrace Bonnier is one that I really love. Some Iris Sibirica, once they're in bloom, I'm going to give you an update. The same phlox that I just showed you in the pots is here. This is Pinky Hill. It's a very soft pink, goes up to like 70 centimeters in total. I just planted it last year and I really loved it. The neighbor's working, so I hope that it's not too much in the audio. Some more tulips. A variety that I really love, this is Salmon van Eyck, and it comes back every year and it comes back with very big, strong flowers. So I can really just advertise that variety to you. So if you continue walking here, you see that the chestnut starts to bloom and we have first leaves already, which is very sweet. And in my back, this is one of my winter interest plants. This is dogwood. It is midwinter fire. And I really love the fresh leaves. They are kind of like chartreuse, little yellowish too, and they have a great impact from the distance. That plant also has wonderful foliage during winter time, during autumn time. In winter, you really have these like fire engine red and orange color stems. So if we walk to the back of a garden, you'll see the vegetable garden is looking fairly nice and fairly good in general. I'm quite happy with the progress that I'm making here. So up there are the raised beds, but especially if you look down there, you see more raised beds. You see my new little greenhouse where I have some pots inside. Potatoes are already pushing through in the first raised bed. So I was just sowing a lot of the things, and I'll do a video just dedicated to the vegetable garden once you will see more. But in general, I think it was a good idea to lay out everything with a straw because it's nice and clean to navigate through this entire area. One thing that I did is I had this deck terrace here, and then the slope is leveled out in this terraces, as you can see. And then I have the stairs, and it was always a little difficult because from here you always had to make a big step onto the stair, and I thought, no, this is not nice and convenient. So I built this little L-shaped extension here, one step here, and now you can walk down very nicely, which I love. Another Catinus, this is a variety called Grace. You can see that first leaves are appearing now, and it is going to be really nice burgundy. I love the growing habit of this one because it is a little loose, airy and open, but now it shoots up, and the autumn display last year was fantastic. It was really crimson, fire engine red, really loved that one. So if we walk down now, I hope that works with you, otherwise we have to pause a little bit. Just take it slow. So maybe you just stay here and then I can show you a little bit. I had a little project of landfill going on here. So this here was actually the last terrace and it went up until here, and then there was a dead hedge. And the space in between was nothing was really growing there, and I didn't even try, to be honest. I didn't really attempt of ever growing anything there, and I thought, you know what, I just do landfill. I replaced some soil on the top garden. I had a lot that I cut back, filled everything in, a lot of soil came on here, and I'm happy with it because now it really feels like a nice last bigger terrace where I can finally plant something. And I added a few things, some more roses. This is rose Blue for You, which really has wonderful blue purple flowers, not blue, purple blooms. Then I've got some more persicaria in a soft pink. Aquilegias are coming, more of that wonderful tulip, which is again Salmon van Eyck, growing in between some roses, where I also think this is a nice thing because roses just get their foliage now. So in the time when the roses are not giving too much, now I have the tulips in between them. So I thought this is a quite nice plant neighbor. This is an Acer brilliantissimum. It doesn't really grow here. It stays in the same size, but the foliage is wonderful. You can hopefully see from a distance, it's peachy and it is just a really wonderful foliage color. So in the long run, I'm excited to share with you the progress that I'm making here and how more color is gonna come in. So let's just go down to the last bit of a garden. My cameraman is looking at me like, go down, you're sure? Yes, I'm sure. Let's open the little gate and walk through here. All right, so if you just look down there, you see the grass border is looking fine. I've got some more of the dogwood here. Another addition that I planted last year, and it came through winter. I'm so happy. This is hibiscus. This is hibiscus floggy, I guess. Pink giant. So it has pink blooms, very simple. But I think it would be really nice to have this wonderful standard of an hibiscus here. I've seen, like if you go closer, this is how it looks. So I've seen hibiscus in Belgium last year, quite a lot of them to be honest, and I thought, oh, they're so nice, I really want to have them. Fingers crossed they worked, but they came through winter, all of them, well, all of them, both of them that I planted last year survived, looked good, so that gave me hope. And I'm gonna share with you how they're going to progress. I've got some more persicaria here. Really grasses, a lot is not looking too good right now. Some panicum are gonna come through here. I've got a viburnum dawn there, which flowered soft pink earlier on. And the lovely thing is it really picked up some growth suddenly. So these two were already shooting up last year and then they're kind of like arching over. So I'm gonna have a really nice shrub here too. The fun thing is if we just turn around and now you walk in front of me and then I follow you, is you will see an area of a garden which I've changed a little bit over the past year or so. One area is this here. So I haven't leveled it out, so it still is a little bit of a slope. At the base of it, I put hydrangeas because when it rains, the water just washes down. So this is where it is most moisture. So I have hydrangeas here. This is pink Annabelle, and they look so good. They really produce a lot of new shoots coming from the base of the plant, which is always a good sign. I planted them last year, and if the next year they already come back with a lot of fresh new growth, you know, they got established. They're gonna love it. I put some pink geraniums here at the bottom. Then also some Iris Sibirica, they like moisture too. So in general, I'm going to focus here on a color combination of soft pink and soft yellow. You see a little bit of it already. So I've got the forget-me-nots here. I've got some tulips, which were supposed to be a little more yellowish. They're kind of more creamy white, greenish now. I still love them, but I thought, okay, they were supposed to be a little bit more on the yellow side. I've got two roses there, Rose rugosa up there. Let me just step in there. So here, looking very small. I'm not going to expect too much of it. This is Dagmar Hastrup. I think next year it's definitely going to kick in. I've got some Penstemon in their dark towers. This is another grass that I planted where I forgot the name now. No, it's not going to come back to me. I've got an aster here, which I'm going to try out. This is a pink aster, which is going to grow probably a meter high. You couldn't tell from this, they look so small now. This is called Rudelsburg. I have never seen it. I really just trusted online pictures and what other people recommended. So I'm hoping that this is going to work and look nice, but the photos and the reviews were very, very promising. Here, this used to be part of the vegetable garden and I've completely changed it last year. because I thought I just don't need to have this big vegetable garden. I'm all right with that. And I really wanted to have a little bit more of a cut flower garden and a rose garden. And this is what happened. So put some roses in here and a mixture. I've got some German roses and some British roses, so Austin roses. I've got, for example, lemon rococo, Desdemona. I've got Desiree, which is really wonderful. This is a pink one, very strong, very vigorous already last year. And this year looks even better. Queen of Sweden, which I planted now at the terrace, very beautiful flowers. I've got a clematis here, and then I've got Acropolis and Lady of Charlotte, which is an orange one. By the way, if you have clematis that grow as perennials, this is a way in how you can grow them quite nice. So you build this framework of hazel canes. You just take the hazel canes, push one in here, push one in there, just tie them together. You don't even need to tie, you just wrap them together. Do the same thing over there. So you have these two arches, and then I just did two wreaths. Just put them over it so the entire shape stays in place like that. And now the clematis can grow in here, and you can just like push little branches from the side so that they are in the middle of it, and then they're not going to collapse, they're not going to lie flat on the ground. And like this, I'm going to have a wonderful arch of clematis hopefully here. If you just turn around to the side, you see my beautiful tulips. I grew some tulips as cut flowers last year. I've already cut the first of them, and now look at these doubles here. Aren't they super pretty? More of those are going to come here. A little bit on the shorter side, some of them. These are fantastic. They're so pretty for a vase. I just love the squeaky sound of the tulips. It's always the sound of spring, by the way. So I think this is just really wonderful. I want to do another big drift of tulips here on the other side next year. I planted a birch there, which is Royal Frost. You can't really see a lot properly because it's very, very small. This is my birch. It's really tiny, yeah? But it has dark foliage. It's kind of like a very dark maroon green, I would call it. It was supposed to have orange leaves in autumn, which didn't happen, but still, I'm quite happy with that. So let's see where it goes. I was just happy that I bought it. It didn't cost a lot. It cost like maybe 20 euros or so, not even. And that's kind of fit for the garden if we look at it. It's really, as far as I went, here on this side, I planted more roses. So let's see what's going to happen there. This is Eisvogel. This one here is another Austin rose, but I just have to look at the name because I honestly forgot about it. Gentle Harmony. I always forget that. So let's see where it goes. You can see the ground looks quite nice because I came in with some fresh garden compost. So everything is prepared for all of the summer plants that I want to put here, like Scabiosa or snapdragons. I've already sown some delphiniums too, cosmos. So a lot is still going to happen, but still I really wanted to share the garden with you this time of the year because I really love it when the tulips are in bloom. First narcissi are in bloom too. And I just want to share with you that it's so worth it really investing in tulips and narcissi if you have the right soil for it. I have well-drained, more sandy soil, and this is exactly what tulips love. And this is why I think it's worth really investing in the money. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you so much if you decide to give me a thumbs up if you subscribe to my channel. I'll be very happy to welcome you very soon again here in my garden. So take care, guys. Bye.